In the ancient Mayan civilization, people performed brutal sacrificial rituals to ward off drought. They covered the slaves' bodies with paint, then stabbed them with knives and took out their hearts while they were still alive. Then they showed the heart first to the sacred sun god, and then threw it into an eagle-shaped dish and burned it. The Mayans believed this would send the heart to the sun god, carried by the spirit of the eagle. Afterward, the slaves' heads were chopped off and tossed from the altar, staining the steps black with blood over the years. The crowd below would cheer, while the next victims trembled in fear. This gruesome ritual was a core part of the Mayans' bloody religious beliefs, as they thought only human sacrifice could drive away drought and disease, with blood being the life force that sustained the gods. In the movie Apocalypto, the protagonist, Jaguar Paw, lives in this harsh environment. One day, a wild boar triggers a trap and is killed. Jaguar Paw and his fellow villagers quickly butcher the animal, and Jaguar Paw gives the most prized part to his friend Blunted, jokingly claiming it cures male ailments. The tribal leader Flint Sky pulled Blunted aside and handed him something similar to chili peppers, saying that this was the secret to his having 10 children. Then he asked Blunted to apply it to specific parts of his body when he returned, saying that it would have a miraculous effect. Just then, a group of strangers appeared, and the leader took out 3 big fish, indicating that they just wanted to pass through the forest. Seeing that the other party had no ill intentions, the leader Flint Sky agreed to their request. After getting permission, a group of old, weak, and injured people walked out of the forest, some of whom had new scars on their faces. It turned out that their tribe was invaded by the Mayans and their homes were destroyed. In desperation, the leader could only take the surviving tribesmen to find a new place to live. This news hints at the impending danger for Jaguar Paw's village. Back at the village, Blunted's wife screams as he tries the chili remedy, causing a commotion. Jaguar Paw had a strange dream. He woke up to the sound of dogs barking outside. A group of unwelcome visitors was approaching. Jaguar Paw noticed something was off. He saw torches nearing the village. They broke into the tribe without warning and began burning, killing and looting. Facing well-armed enemies, the villagers stood no chance. In the chaos, Jaguar Paw hurriedly hid his pregnant wife and son in a pit. As he lowered them, an enemy spotted him and rushed over. Jaguar Paw quickly lowered the rope, causing his wife to fall heavily to the ground. Seeing the enemy charging, Jaguar Paw swiftly took him down but nearly let him fall into the pit. The enemy saw the people in the pit and struggled even harder to break free. Jaguar Paw grabbed the enemy's weapon and struck him down. After defeating the enemy, Jaguar Paw told his wife to stay hidden and promised to return for them, then rejoin the fight. As he battled Middle Eye, Zero Wolf suddenly appeared behind him, choking him tightly. Jaguar Paw was overpowered and helplessly watched as his father was killed by Middle Eye. All the survivors in the tribe were tied to bamboo poles and became slaves. As they were led away, Jaguar Paw glanced at the pit, drawing the enemy's attention. An enemy approached the pit to investigate, but fortunately, Jaguar Paw's wife remained hidden and undiscovered. The enemy seemed to hear something and threw a stone into the pit. Seeing no movement, he left satisfied. All the captives were then taken away by the Mayans, leaving only the pitiful children behind. They crossed a raging river and walked along steep cliffs. During the journey, an injured tribesman lost his footing and fell off the cliff, pulling others with him. In a desperate moment, Blunted hooked his leg around a tree root, temporarily stabilizing the situation. The enemies, instead of helping, squatted nearby, amused by the slaves' terrified struggles. As the tree began to uproot, Blunted rallied everyone to pull together. With their combined effort, they managed to pull the two fallen men back up. However, Middle Eye was not satisfied. He cut the rope binding one of the slaves and pushed him off the cliff. Zero Wolf noticed the missing slave and quickly realized what had happened. He drew his dagger and warned Middle Eye. Looking at Zero Wolf in front of him, he had no choice but to stand at the back of the team and continue moving forward with the slaves. They passed through an abandoned village, and a massive tree suddenly crashed down. Everyone managed to dodge just in time to avoid being crushed. Ahead, they encountered a strange little girl. Her mother had died from a plague, and the girl cried out for help, but a man callously pushed her away with a stick. The man showed no mercy, but the girl did not cry. Instead, her expression turned serious. She stared intently at Jaguar Paw for a long time, then prophesied what was to come.
Balam letie kasihi ichnuk ketel ichnu letie yanubis keish yetele oksik tie kano yetele lukmu keisha yanakinta nesh alumeshe yanushu.
The girl's eerie behavior sent a chill down everyone's spine, but they pressed on without giving it much thought. Soon, they reached the outskirts of the Mayan city. They passed a quarry where the air was thick with choking lime dust, turning the ground white. Slaves who labored here for long periods often suffered from the corrosive effects of lime, but no one cared about their well-being. They then arrived at a village filled with filth and decay, where countless people had died from a plague. Beyond the village lay a prosperous town, a stark contrast to the previous scenes. People worked in an orderly manner, dressed in clothes woven from imitation materials and living in beautifully crafted stone palaces. The slaves had their bonds removed. Female slaves were priced and sold, while male slaves were painted with blue dye, marking them as sacrificial offerings. They were taken into the Mayan city, where a grand sacrificial ritual was underway. Apparently, Jaguar Paw was the next unfortunate victim, and he was placed on the altar in despair. Just as the high priest was about to plunge his knife, the sky suddenly darkened with a solar eclipse. The Mayans panicked, and the high priest hurriedly chanted incantations to calm the crowd. The Mayans believed that this scene meant that the sun god was very satisfied with the sacrifice, which would help them drive away drought and plague. The crowd cheered, and Jaguar Paw miraculously escaped death. However, freedom was not in store for them. Instead, they faced an even more brutal ordeal. Jaguar Paw and the others were led to an open field and told that if they could reach the cornfield, they would be set free. But survival was far from easy, as they had to dodge the Mayans' relentless attacks from behind. During the chase, all of Jaguar Paw's tribesmen were killed. Only he and one other companion remained. They sprinted forward, weaving to avoid the attacks, but his companion was struck down. Just as Jaguar Paw was about to reach the cornfield, the Mayan leader shot an arrow, hitting him. Zero Wolf's son rushed forward to finish Jaguar Paw off, but the severely injured Blunted intervened. Jaguar Paw snapped off the arrowhead and stabbed the leader's son, killing him. He then gritted his teeth and pulled the arrow from his body, desperately running toward the cornfield. Enraged by his son's death, Zero Wolf vowed revenge and pursued Jaguar Paw. In his haste, Jaguar Paw fell into a deep pit filled with corpses. He quickly climbed out and continued his escape, clutching his wound. Jaguar Paw fled into the jungle, with the Mayans hot on his heels. Exhausted, he climbed a large tree to hide, but his blood dripped onto a Mayan below. Just as he thought he had caught a break, Jaguar Paw heard the cry of a black jaguar cub, followed by the growl of an adult jaguar behind him. Meanwhile, the Mayans lost track of Jaguar Paw. Zero Wolf noticed blood on one of his men and realized Jaguar Paw was hiding in the tree. Just as he ordered his men to spread out and search, they heard footsteps in the distance. Everyone chased after him immediately, but they didn't know that Jaguar Paw was being chased by Black Panther at that time. A Mayan took a shortcut and ran behind Jaguar Paw, but was mistaken for prey by the Black Panther. By the time the others arrived, the man was beyond saving. Everyone surrounded Black Panther, which bought Jaguar Paw time to escape. The Mayans were terrified, believing they had killed the offspring of the black war god, Eclipse. Meanwhile, Jaguar Paw kept running, using a plant to staunch the bleeding from his wound. He ran from day into night, but the Mayans relentlessly pursued him. The next day, they found the blue pigment from Jaguar Paw on a branch. Suddenly, a giant snake bit one of the men in the neck. When the people around saw this, they killed the python, but the person bitten was severely poisoned. They left him behind and continued their pursuit of Jaguar Paw. A spear landed near Jaguar Paw as he ran, and he turned to see the Mayans closing in. Weapons flew at him from all directions, but he managed to dodge them. In his desperation, he ran toward a waterfall and jumped. The Mayans, seeing the raging waters, assumed Jaguar Paw was dead. But moments later, they heard him shouting from below. Zero Wolf ordered his men to pursue, but when one suggested taking a safer route down, Zero Wolf killed him on the spot. He commanded everyone to jump. Jaguar Paw watched as the Mayans plunged into the water and began to swim toward him. He turned and ran into the forest, accidentally falling into a swamp. He carefully grabbed a vine, but it couldn't support his weight. But Jaguar Paw did not give up and slowly climbed towards the shore. Because he had to survive, his wife and son were still waiting for him to rescue them. Finally, he reached solid ground, determined to avenge his people. This was his jungle, and he would make the Mayans pay. He came to the Mayans with a hornet's nest wrapped in a banana leaf and threw it directly at them. Meanwhile, Seven, trapped in the pit, was trying to escape. She climbed but fell back down, exhausted. Jaguar Paw, who was escaping, caught a poisonous frog. This is one of the most poisonous species in the world. He then plucked the plant's thorns and made it into a weapon. He smeared mud on the tree trunks to create the appearance of his passing traces. He hid in the nearby bushes and waited for the Mayans to catch up. As he scouted ahead, he saw Middle Eye returning. Consumed by the memory of his father's murder, Jaguar Paw charged at his enemy. Suddenly, it began to rain heavily, and Jaguar Paw remembered his wife and child in the pit. He rushed back, but the Mayans were close behind. At this time, Seven's situation was not optimistic. The accumulated water had reached her knees, and to make matters worse, due to her previous fall, she was about to give birth. He breathed a sigh of relief seeing his wife and child safe, but the Mayans caught up to him. With no other choice, he lured the Mayans away to keep his family out of danger. As a result, he was shot in the body by Zero Wolf's arrow. Jaguar Paw struggled to his feet, drawing the arrow from his body, and stood defiantly. Zero Wolf charged at him with a dagger, seeking revenge for his son, but he triggered a trap. It turned out that Jaguar Paw had deliberately lured his enemy into a trap previously used for hunting wild animals, successfully turning the tables and killing him. The remaining two Mayans, seeing their leader dead, continued their pursuit of Jaguar Paw. The water in the cave rose rapidly with the heavy rain, and she could only step on the stones and hold onto the stone pillars next to her. She kept adjusting her breathing so that she could give birth smoothly. Badly wounded, Jaguar Paw reached the shore and collapsed onto the sand. The two Mayans caught up to him, but what they saw next made them forget their fight, a sight none of them had ever seen before. A ship approached from the sea, bearing the Spanish conquistadors who would eventually bring an end to the Mayan civilization. While Maya was stunned, Jaguar Paw ran back into the forest. When he returned to the pit, he found his son had been born. Seeing his family safe, he finally felt at peace. Soon the rain stopped and the sky cleared up. Seeing the strange, seafaring vessel on the horizon, Jaguar Paw resolutely led his wife and children back into the mountains.